Garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out.
Hello, all you gigalos. Welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. I'm your host, Kelton, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing co-host, Grift. How's it going, buddy?
I've been better. Elon Musk successfully executed a hostile takeover of the Grift shop today. Yeah, it's under new ownership. There's nothing I could do. I did get a pretty penny from the buyout, but that's my baby, and it was taken from me. So
I was going to say it was $10 per Twitter follower, right? I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Now, if every one of my Twitter followers did send me $10, now we're talking.
All right. When the time comes and we fully reinvest our energy and efforts into being the best movie podcast on Truth Social, it will be time, I think. But my goodness, this week we are going to be talking about the newest movie from A24 and Robert Eggers. It is, of course, The Northman. Woo! It's a Viking Western movie. Before we get into our thoughts about all of this, I just kind of want to do a brief rundown that this movie runs almost 2.5 hours long. It made about $13 million domestically at the box office on a $90 million budget. So, a little bit shaky territory there for a return on investment. And with a $90 million budget, I have to ask, was this 9 times better than the $10 million Green Knight movie?
No. I mean, it looked incredible. It looked like, honestly, this is just a testament to like how much the Green Knight did with its budget, which, given its competition these days, it's honestly extraordinary. But I mean, I honestly did not expect this movie looked fantastic, but I'm surprised that the budget was that high.
And granted, I'm sure COVID delays and other things like that probably had it balloon out a little bit. But I don't think we're talking going from a 9 million to 90 million kind of a thing. I was shocked by how relatively small scale this story was, because at least in the trailers, for anyone who's watched that, we're being sold on the idea of like this sweeping Viking saga, like an epic tale, and this is much more like a very slim, trim, lean revenge story, which it isn't bad by any means. I was just surprised to see that it's well, I guess this is a much more tight-knit and emotionally intense movie than kind of, I guess, what I would expect from an episode of Vikings or The Last Kingdom or Vikings Valhalla on Netflix, or hold on, I'm trying to look up other Vikings properties. The January 6th riots. Yes.
Yeah. This is a very dangerous movie. After getting out of the screening today, I had a sudden urge to carve Norse runes in my skin. I bought a Sonorad flag on my way home. It's hanging in my room right now. Good thing we're not getting video evidence of this, but yeah, no, it's. But yeah, you made a good point when we were talking about that. This was obviously had been in production well before fucking January 6th or any aesthetic or rhetorical connections to the QAnon shaman that people are trying to make in the media. But
to be fair, it's British people trying to draw the comparison, going, yes, the problematic Vikings, yes, the imagery that exists in their culture.
Fuck off,
nothing
Limeys.
like
Jesus
us.
Christ.
The British were slaves, don't you understand? Again, I know a lot of people have a lot of positive reviews for this movie online, and I don't mean just positive. I mean earth-shattering, transcendent, the best movie I've ever seen. It was everything I could have hoped for. And to those people, I really am happy for you, because I thought it was fine, but if that is exactly what you wanted in the movie and it was that, I'm happy for you. Again, it just kind of, for me, felt more like for lack of a better word, a smooth brain Western that kind of got glossed up with old timey language. Like, I mean, I didn't think it was especially deep, but I thought everything was incredibly well executed. Like you mentioned, I thought everything looked gorgeous. I mean, the sets were fantastic. The costuming, everything felt so real. I mean, who knows about like historically how real it actually was, you know, but it looked like it all felt the time period. So then when the fantastical elements that happen in the film sporadically throughout occur, it makes it seem that much more impactful. And so that's a credit to the entire production for this. One thing though I wanted to ask you, Grift, in addition to what like you thought about this movie, was what's your relationship with your father like? Because I'm noticing, and I'm gonna start pulling on these threads to figure out why people enjoyed this movie so much.
Not much to say besides like good. I don't. I can't think of any particular like lingering issues on that front. I know I'm relatively lucky in that regard.
Me too. I think that's why we might not be as high on this movie as other people. Like, I legitimately think, because I hate to do this, but I feel like this movie is kind of a projection of the director, because Robert Eggers doesn't actually know who his biological father is, and his mother married his stepfather when he was a young child, and then that couple had a pair of twins. And if that rings true to certain elements in this film, I think you might be able
pretty
to...
explicitly.
And again, I know Eggers is married to a clinical psychologist, so my joke now is this is what happens when a New England artist doesn't go to therapy, or even worse, when he does. This is the art that he creates instead.
Well, I mean, speaking as an artist who grew up in New England who has never gone to therapy...
Well, when's your Northman movie coming out? Yeah. The Milady Northman.
Oh my
it's
God,
just the Northman
like,
with those fucking eyes.
Like feudal Japan or something. Like
the world's first weeb is what it is.
Well, no, I mean that's just The Last Samurai. Yeah, it should have been called The First Weeb. Like, come on, what are we doing?
That's the untold origin story, I think, for it. I did think that a lot of this movie is fascinating to me because it's almost like a Rorschach test in the sense of like the most annoying woke boy like at a party that you will ever run into, like the type that describes themselves as an indigo child kind of thing, and then like the most aggro like red-pilled MRA leading guy, like we have to protect our children types, will both enjoy this movie, albeit for very different reasons. And I think that is fascinating from a piece of art, because on one hand that means that it has themes that resonate throughout and a plot line that can be interpreted as such, and on the other hand it shows that there might be a slightly more muddled message than Eggers probably might be preferring. So it's not that I'm mad at anyone who enjoyed this film. I was just disappointed in this movie. And so, you know, like on a scale of everything, it's like still like a 6 out of 10 in my head. But the entire time I was thinking with a couple tweaks here and there that the themes could be a little bit richer in it.
Yeah, with your indigo child example there, were you sort of referring to the supernatural like the way the supernatural like hallucinogenic elements played into it?
That's part of it. It was mostly me like going through like trauma from a 2013 house party where a guy wouldn't shut the fuck up because it was a full moon outside and was trying to get laid with these two chicks. But yes,
that moon blood got me acting up.
Yeah. You got to be careful with them. A whole bunch of Ezra Miller types is all I'm going to say. Can't trust them. Can't trust them one fucking bit.
The Hawaiian.
Honestly, the oldest son character kind of looked like Ezra Miller as well, and so
Can we just do a quick aside about the Ezra Miller thing? So you remember that trailer we covered, the Asking For It movie, where it was like the takedown,
oh my god,
the takedown of the MRI, which has Ezra Miller as the villain, and also the director, like, apparently, like, assaulted a trans woman in, like, some bar randomly recently. So it's, like, very weird narrative surrounding that movie.
Oh, because that's also, isn't that the one also starring, like, it has Vanessa Hudgens? The one, because Vanessa Hudgens was like casually in favor of genocide, because it was like, I mean, how many people are going to die of COVID? Isn't it worth it?
Yeah.
Just an all-star lineup.
She's in that, yeah.
I would love to be on set. The poor crew that was having to deal with those absolute maniacs the entire time. Not worth it in my head. But oh well. Did you have any other kind of like big overarching thoughts before we do what we always do and lean into a full recap into this thing?
I just, like, I was very satisfied with what I got from this. I did not go in expecting some sort of transcendent experience like you referenced that some other people were. I was just looking forward to some badass Viking action, and this movie looked fantastic. The poetic turns of the dialogue felt like something out of like Beowulf or something, like, where like it's like, pre Shakespearean, but very canny turns of phrase that spiced up the script. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but I loved the third act subversion of like the revenge fantasy.
Yes, we will definitely get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went in expecting some a gorgeous looking badass Viking movie, and the scope, like, I agree, the scope is a little different than what I expected. But I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the narrative choices. So it was a worthy trade-off. It was like, okay, so the scope isn't as large, but it is a little deeper. Fantastic, cool, great. And also, like, the fight choreography was really fucking good.
Yes. That and the stunt work in this is like has several sequences where I'm like, wow, they were able to get all of that, and maybe not like a oneer because they probably were able to edit it all together in post, but it's super impressive camera work that they had these guys just flying off of things and falling in ways. I was amazed,
jumping off of houses to knock a guy off his horse. Like, dude, when he catches the spear throw and then turns around and like nails the guy with it.
Yes.
Amazing. That one was in the trailer, so I knew it was coming, but like
still rewarding, know?
Yes, absolutely.
There I was at the Mike Tyson boxing event, and wouldn't you know it, he threw a punch. Whoa, crazy. I think that this movie is definitely one of those that I look forward to rewatching, which I can't say for a lot of other movies that I might walk away disappointed in. Like, that's how good I think this movie in general is, and so I look forward to it kind of experiencing it again. Now, in terms of the actual plot, we open up in AD 895, aka in the Viking Age of Land Taking, which I think is a cool era that isn't explored very often with the Viking mythos. I mean, I'm sure they do in the show Vikings and whatever, but just like in the sense of like every generation there was massive upheaval, if not upheaval like within that same generation. So the ideas of having a dynasty is a foreign concept to an entire culture, which is just something that I think is weird, because I want to say it doesn't resonate, I think, with a lot of Western audiences, but this is where a lot of Western stuff kind of starts from. So it's unique in this time period.
Total Dark Ages aesthetic, just like of that era where the power is not obfuscated at all. Like, the guy who has the most swords around him, who can kill the most people, is going to be the ruler. There's really no papering over the implication of force. It's very direct, and And it's straight up from the outset. Just no land acknowledgments going down in this universe.
Nope, none whatsoever. The other thing to keep in mind is we open on like the king and queen played by Ethan Hawke and Nicole Kidman. Ethan Hawke comes in and is acting very gruff to everyone. And then you see that he immediately warms up to his child, and you're like, oh, what a sweet father-son dynamic. I can't wait to see them bonding. And then pretty much immediately they go into a spiritual ceremony where they act like wolves with Willem Dafoe. Like that's just what they do. They strip down and then start howling and drinking out of bowls and taking psychedelics with each other. Just dudes being dudes.
Just I loved there were several sequences of like the one where the warriors are hyping themselves up for battle by like becoming just like snarling animals, just like reducing themselves to like bacchanalian animalistic like impulses.
I mean, very, really like, leaning into their fursonas, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
No, I'm not a man. Yeah. I'm a wolf. Sure you are. I'm a bear. Fucking don't kill me. You can be whatever you want, man. Just so yeah, this is a movie really about furry oppression, because immediately their lifestyle is not approved of, and that we observe the king get ambushed by some masked riders, and it turns out that he is betrayed by his brother, who is really painted out to be just a villain. Doesn't hurt that he's also played by a guy who has played Dracula before. So you're like, yeah, this piece of shit, definitely a bad guy. How could you betray your king like this? I thought that it was incredibly paint by numbers, and then you got Ethan Hawke doing his monologue, talking about how the kingdom will crumble all around him, blah, blah, blah. It was very Shakespearean and theatrical in that sense. So
yeah, he has his little Boromir moment where he just gets shot full of so many arrows and then just keeps talking.
When he got shot in the neck and he's like it's just an underrated sound. It's trying to talk while gurgling, trying to be like, no, play it cool, it's fine. I can still walk this off. So of course, the little boy goes on the run, and he gets chased by one of the henchmen, and then ends up just taking off that guy's nose. Hell yeah. Which I appreciated, because later when we see him, it's a good way to identify that is the henchman. And so, excellent movie making trick. And poor actor who had to probably have like a green screen on his nose for the rest of filming.
No, they actually made him chop off his nose for this.
He was that committed, in fact. Eggers didn't even ask him to. Yeah. He just did that. It was insane.
What can I say? A24 vibes.
And so we see the little 12-year-old boy. He finds a boat, and then he starts rowing away, and he's repeating his mantra, like, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fjolnir. And I thought like that kind of resonated well. Then I realized that this is the same kid that played a young Bruce Wayne in the Batman movie that we watched earlier. And I'm like, well, all right, this kid is typecast. He's like, you look like a kid who has dead parents. How would you like to be in a movie? And then we get a smash cut, and it says years later. And I thought like, oh, wow, okay, we're going to see like him, like a training montage. But no, we're just kind of thrown right into it. And it's like 3+ decades have gone by, and he's now a Viking berserker with that crew that you were talking about, that they lay siege to a town. And I mean, the action set piece of them being at the forefront, him hurling the spear back, climbing up, jumping onto a roof, jumping down. I mean, the chaos that ensues throughout that entire thing just felt kinetic and expertly executed.
People have been saying, like, "Oh, this is just fucking a gore fest," and like, yeah,
it's not
like,
though. They cut away.
Yeah,
sorry, don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I was basically gonna say that. Yeah, like there are some brutal action scenes, but it really wasn't didn't feel too gratuitous. The realism to the brutality was more apparent in just them putting all the kids in the village in a house and then burning it down.
Yeah, because they weren't worthy as slaves. Which listen, I don't want to be that guy. Okay, because as a white guy talking about the economics of slavery, I get how this can be bad here. But those kids are an investment, okay? Because let me tell you, you want adult slaves, but you want to get them on the cheap? Kids, okay? They turn into adults. The assets appreciate in value, you see. This is investing 101.
Yeah, but I mean, when you have a short term quarter by quarter profit strategy, you gotta invest resources into this kid. If you got shareholders, breathing down your neck for profits quarter to quarter, you can't have that. No, you gotta,
I'm so sorry. Our operation is downsizing. No, get into the church. We're burning it down.
Yeah, I gotta cut costs somewhere. Yeah, can't be feeding these kids. We gotta take the fully grown ones.
It was just great to see. I mean, not great to see kids burning.
It was great. I love seeing that. No.
That was what was transcendent for me. It was just
burning a bunch of Russians in a house. Yeah, and then referencing how you're gonna sell the slaves in the market in Kiev.
Yes, yeah, that.
Yeah, a little world building there. Yeah.
I thought it was really weird that they looked to camera and then they cut for 5 minutes to that Zelensky speech throughout. But it's okay, I guess. Weird, but he was an actor, so maybe it was filmed before. I'm not sure the timelines. The one thing that I enjoyed about this sequence was seeing him. Because at no point do I think of him as a protagonist in the sense of he's a good guy. If anything, as the film goes on, we realize that he's no better than pretty much anyone else in this movie. It's just everyone being shitty and brutal to everyone else the entire way through. But this highlights it, that in so many, in my opinion, lesser films, it would be someone saying via montage, the things I've done, you wouldn't be able to forgive me for. And then we wouldn't see it. But when you actually see a guy, I don't know, burning down a building full of children, you go, oh, okay, yeah, this guy. Yeah, okay. This violence is all he knows.
And Skarsgård's physical presence in this scene, the way he's just he's just with his fucking
crane neck that he does,
and just the way he carries his arms and shoulders is just so physical and just so menacing. Just fully committed performance there.
He knew it. He wanted to get a fucking Viking movie made. That's then we get the Bjork cameo where she's a seeress in the temple. She's saying you will fight and kill your uncle in a field of fire. And he's like, yes, this makes sense to me. I'm not having a psychotic break. Absolutely. All right. Well, time for me to go find my uncle. Then wouldn't you know it? He overhears someone talking about his uncle. He's like, where? My uncle? Yeah, he lives over here. And they're like, no. Harold of Norway took over that land. And so you're like, the father's prophecy has come true. And now Fjolnir is a sheep farmer. he's
Fjolnir, Loki fell off.
He is having his Justin Timberlake Man in the Woods era right now because he is living in Iceland, and to call it a commune is an overstatement because it's really him and 15 other people tops. And I need people to understand that there's only like 15 people in this small little area. Because when shit starts to go down and then Fjolnir's like, who could be doing this? It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's the 6'7" Skarsgård monster out there. No takers. I'm just saying, in your small village commune, if you're like, one of us could be violent, it's me, my family, and Jason Voorhees, and a whole bunch of other people. It's probably Jason Voorhees. But regardless, lol at him getting wrecked like that. Good times. Weirdly, the second chapter of the movie that takes place, originally Eggers wanted this to happen on the British Isles, I think, to kind of tie in like with the mother's origin, but Skarsgård rejected that because basically he said that is overly trope filled, and instead to do it in Iceland because it hasn't really been done before, and so they kind of fleshed out that second chapter a little bit better, which I thought was an improvement.
Yeah. I mean, and also the natural like wonder and beauty of Iceland is far and away like more spectacular than anything on the British Isles.
Oh my god!
You got volcanoes, you got just like just like massive floodplains, like all sorts, like just it was. Every sort of like epic environment you could imagine, you can actually find on Iceland. Like that's
It's almost like it's a fantastic area. Again, props to the location scouting, but also just maybe that like Skarsgårds and all of them, like they know and have this and want to bring light to this cultural area. So it's great then when the people in the movie are saying, "Look at this piece of shit area. I hate it here. All these lush green fields." Getting in and having a hot spring that I can climb into. This fucking sucks. It's just, you don't know how good you have it. Was my point. And then, we're also introduced to Anya Taylor-Joy when Skarsgård kind of pretends to be a slave, and then he hops onto a ship that no one notices, but he has a different haircut, and I guess that's a good enough disguise for $8.95.
I was confused by this because, like, weren't the guys on the ship the people that he just done the raid
That's
with?
absolutely right.
Like, they would recognize the guy he was literally, like, on the front line just killing more people than anyone else.
No. Berserkers were known for their stealth.
They're masters of camouflage.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, he gives himself the Yellowstone brand to blend in.
He really does. It's just, and then instantly healed. But you know, that's kind of where I do feel like the comparisons with Conan the Barbarian kind of ring true. Of where like you have to just accept the fact that I guess he is going covert. Like you know what? Like it's fine. It's like in Arnold movies. People are like in these like I'm an accountant. It's like no, you're fucking not.
I'm a kindergarten teacher.
No, it's not going to work. And you know, to their credit, in this movie, pretty much seeing him being all swollen jacked is the reason that he ends up getting bought by his uncle. But again, getting ahead of ourselves, he's introduced to Anya Taylor-Joy, and they kind of have like a little, beginnings of a fling that start. And I have to ask you, Grift, how old do you think Skarsgård is supposed to be in this movie?
I'd say anywhere from like late 20s through 30s.
Okay, because I don't know. I've watched Big Little Lies, and this will come into play later.
Same.
So like I see him solidly in his like early 40s. And so it was very much the like Charlie Hunnam in King Arthur when they're like, "Look at this boy."
Yeah, boy. Look at this 35-year-old boy.
I don't know. That young boy has a bad back and some scar tissue on his knee. But yeah, I mean, I know he's trying to play younger, but I don't believe him. I couldn't take him at like 26, which is what Olga is. And so then when they arrive fully and you see the queen with the uncle, and you realize, okay, that's Nicole Kidman, who is only 9 years older than Skarsgård. And you're like, okay, I'm not sure how to feel exactly about this, because they play husband and wife, as you know, but now our audience knows on Big Little Lies, and it's son mother here, which is just fascinating. I'm sure there's a commentary to be found about women in Hollywood, but that's not our podcast to talk about.
Lots of problematic age gaps here.
Yeah, the age gaps are definitely the most problematic thing that happens on this fucking island. I did really enjoy as we're introduced to the new family that the baby we saw at the beginning has grown up to look like the Ezra Miller knockoff, and then also there's like the
Ezra Miller with facial hair.
Yeah, and then also the little kid, the little brother, half brother, however you want to put it.
Oh, fuck that little kid, fucking brat.
But he's like a little shit, but he's an annoying 9-year-old kid, and you're like, oh, like he's just like, you know, how you were, you know, before your innocence got ripped away from you via watching your father get Boromired in the woods. So anyway, he's trying to kind of wait for the right moment to kill his uncle, and so he is stalking around the farm. That's when he finds this he witch, and he finds out that that Willem Dafoe's character was killed by his uncle. Who could have fucking seen that coming? Whoa, you only got Willem Dafoe for like, I don't know, shooting for a day. Fantastic, great, excellent use of Willem Dafoe for this. And he ends up being on the poster. You love to see it, right? He also instructs Skarsgård about where to find this thing called the Night Blade, because in any good Viking saga, no matter how big or small, there has to be a magical sword of some kind.
Gotta have it.
But this sword can only be drawn at night, you see. And so that's what makes it cool. And sure enough, you know, later on, as people are trying to open the sword, they can't during the day. But don't worry, it still functions as a motherfucking club. It's not useless.
Still a melee weapon, yeah.
You would think it wouldn't be killing blows, but when you have Skarsgård's buys and tries wielding that thing behind you, no, it's not a fun time for anyone. In fact, when he goes to try and grab the sword, he visits like an undead spirit that's watching and guarding over the blade, and he ends up having to fight a zombie, because of course there's a zombie in this movie. Why not? It's gonna elevate any movie, I think, having a Viking zombie.
Yeah, I mean, this movie really shows that you got to do the double tap kill on the zombie, but apparently in Viking times you had to cut off the head and then put the head like right up his own ass. Like,
that was the Viking equivalent of teabagging back in the day. Absolutely, real gamer move there, Skarsgård.
Yeah, total gamer moment, absolutely.
Skarsgård spamming the chat with slurs after killing. Because this movie needs like a fun little like getaway scene, the entire commune, it goes to go play this game of like Viking Quidditch. I didn't know what the fuck this game was. Did you?
Oh, I had no idea what this game was, but like, dude, fucking like a cross between like rugby in baseball and that Mayan ball game, which they would kill the team that lost.
Yeah,
like this fucking rocked.
It was great to see like a bunch of Game of Thrones actors basically making up the other team. Because the Mountain, an actor Bjornsson, who played the Mountain for the longest amount of time in Game of Thrones, he's like the main big bad guy on the opposing team, and I love that because like he's the only one who can make Skarsgård look small by comparison. He has like half a foot on Skarsgård, and is just truly a bear of a human being. It's terrifying. But yeah, they end up getting into a one-on-one thing. They're attacking each other with clubs. And then the little shithead brother is like, I'm going to win it for my team. Yay. And then just gets mollywopped by the Mountain and immediately has a concussion. Just down for the count.
Yeah, field hockey's gotten so pussified these days. Like
back when men were men,
was a real man sport. Yeah,
I would love to see your stat sheet. Okay, you have 1 scoring goal, 2 assists, and 3 fatalities. Excellent job. Yeah, wonderful. It is also cool where you get to, because you won. You did sport good. Now here's your sex trophy. Congratulations. And
you're not free, but you can have a woman of your pick.
Yeah, I mean, who among us slavery, but with Anya Taylor-Joy? Huh? Who among us? Let's weigh the pros and cons of this.
Trade offer. You receive.
I have your freedom. You receive Anya Taylor-Joy. But it is great because they have like the stereotypical like they have sex in the woods by moonlight, and it's like passionate missionary sex, which sure fucking I guess like remarkably chaste in some weird ways by Robert Eggers. So
no boob shots. I guess that's probably usually due to like the clause in the
absolutely
yeah. And not their creative choices.
Yeah, I mean, but they found a way to make it work with the two of them. I just also love how their pillow talk is like, we're going to kill all these motherfuckers. We're going to kill them so hard. Oh, I hate them so much. Oh, it makes me so hot. Oh, yeah. And so it just really reminded me of that Joker quote that of what goes on. Like she was fearless and crazier than him the entire time.
Yeah, she was his queen. She was, talking about killing your enemies with like a super hot chick, about to make me act up here.
Posting the screen cap and going, me and who? Yeah. But then
DM's open.
Hell yeah. Our 3 female listeners are about to go flooding that Grift. Congratulations.
I'm a professional. I'm here to make friends and sell shirts. I don't no like disregard e-girls, acquire cryptocurrency. It's like
there's only one milady on my mind, and yeah, it's a commodity. Thank you very much. So on the following night, that's when Skarsgård just starts murking some of his uncle's men. And again, his uncle is like, who could have done this? It's like, again, oh, God, serial killers back in the day just having amazing times. Like, surely it couldn't be this man with the bowl cut. Look at him. But yeah, Skarsgård does kind of create like a meat sculpture of a horse using dead bodies. So respect to him with his avant-garde ideas. Truly.
Yeah, it looked like something like the White Walkers would make. Yeah, definitely. Like, and
he did that
like,
in the night, though. Like, he had to
Yeah.
be thinking about it and drawing up like schematics for it. And he was like, okay, the placement here. Okay, I got to kill this guy because he has the right arms that I'm going for. Like, the right shape.
I gotta nail the arm in this shape. And, it's like all under the cover of darkness. He's just like, he's basically a serial killer for like most of the second and third act. Like,
he is a quirked up white boy, if you will. That's going on. I'm also trying to remember. Oh, yes. When they open and they see like the murder corpse sculpture, the immediate first reaction of the Ezra Miller son is to go like, it's the Christians. The Christians did this.
their god is a dead guy nailed to a tree. These fucking sickos. Who knows what they could get up to?
Which, I was like, your audience, Robert Eggers. That probably made some like I don't know, has voted Republican since the Reagan era couple that went to go watch that go like, yes, we are edgy. There was a time when we were feared. So, good on you for that. Anya Taylor-Joy, while Skarsgård is breaking their bones, she is breaking their minds, using her womanly wiles, and by that I mean just fucking dosing everyone's soup with psychedelic mushrooms, because that's like her whole thing is drugging people. Really falling into that like femme fatale stereotype that seems to exist. So it's just Vikings on a bad trip, and this is anti-mushroom propaganda is my note that I made for it, because I don't know when the last time you took mushrooms was, Grift, but I have never wanted to stab my own face repeatedly because of a bad trip experience.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely don't make you go like happening mode. I'm trying to like last time I think was at like a party in Brooklyn, and like I threw up, and that was about it.
Yep. You're like, whoa, things look kind of Tracy. Music is a little better. Wow. Not like, I believe in the old gods. I will be carried to Valhalla.
I'm gonna slit my throat.
I'm starting to think that maybe generations of untreated trauma and mental illness running rampant through a probably inbred society, probably not the best in the world, but who could have known? It's then, though, that he uses this opportunity to go and speak to his mother, Nicole Kidman. She reveals that, and this is kind of the beginning of the third chapter and the subversion.
Yeah, so basically, he confronts his mother about, he reveals to her that he's, her long lost son, and he's here to enact his revenge fantasy, and she's like, no, your dad fucking sucked. You were a product of rape. Fjolnir saved me. Fjolnir did nothing wrong.
Fjolnir is doing the thing. He did the thing that you think you are doing now. Like, he saved me, and he did what it took. The reason he killed your dad was because your dad was evil, and that we knew that you would be evil, and that's why he tried to kill you. It's like, you see how you built that murder corpse statue out there of the horse? Yeah, we knew that. We had like a whole, we need to talk about Kevin moment. Hey, another Ezra Miller thing. Anyways.
and not only was the dad, like they Fjolnir killed the dad because he was abusive or whatever. Like, she was the driving force behind that. Like, she helped orchestrate the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I know people are joking that this is like the white Black Panther. Killmonger did nothing wrong. Fjolnir did nothing wrong.
You're not wrong, though. I mean, like, it really does recontextualize so much of the movie, because yes, like, him wanting to kill a child is obviously bad, but then when that child grows up and is comfortable burning down entire houses full of children, maybe he's not good himself either. Like, it's more of a product of the world in which it's, again, fucked up people making bad choices left and right. But the thing that I really felt like people were glomming onto with this scene in particular is like, can you believe it? Can you believe it? your father isn't the man you thought he was. Whoa! Oh my God! You shouldn't put him up on a pedestal. Fuck! Oh, this hurts so much. Oh, it's transcendent. This film that maybe my dad does suck, or maybe if he sucks, he's not as bad as I think he is. Oh, people are multifaceted. Each of us contains multitudes. Oh, the mushrooms are hitting so hard right now.
Oh no, my mom's trying to seduce me.
Oh yeah, well that's a universal experience. Who hasn't had your 9 years older than you mom try casually hook up with you? Again, the way I put it was that like this has like the emotional resonance of everybody poops. Yeah, okay, like that's what we were building towards. Like as a message here, Subversion I really enjoyed. The third act I really enjoyed, but from what I've seen of people being like, this is a defining moment. It's like, I mean, sure, I guess. Like it. And from that point forward, it made me feel like, oh, so this movie has been like spoon feeding us the entire time, but there are people who are going to feel proud of themselves for saying like, oh, I didn't need to be spoon fed, but you still got spoon fed the entire movie. It's just like, calm down. It's okay. It's fine. This is an okay movie. Let's not start talking about how like we're gonna ride this all the way to Ascend to Valhalla or whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, I feel lucky that I did not see those takes beforehand, because like I went in expecting a visually gorgeous Viking action fest, and that's pretty much what I got. You know, so like I didn't see these other, you know, ridiculous narratives that people are trying to put on it. Like, obviously there was a lot of hype from the trailer, but yeah, to try to act like this is some sort of transcendent piece of art that's you know, redefining masculinity in the modern age or whatever, blah blah blah. Like, no, shut the fuck up. Shut just enjoy the spectacle.
Yeah. Like, when you watch Nicole Kidman saying that she prefers her new family instead of Amleth, you know, like in the modern day, that just makes him go make truck rant videos in his car. You know, like that's what happens. Like Amleth goes in, sits down, and starts talking about like why we can't trust the cuck liberals out there.
Also, just on the Nicole Kidman note, like AMC is still running that pre-movie little intro with her. So whenever she's in a movie, it just I always crack up.
I mean, I mentioned it before, but it is surreal to watch Nicole Kidman be like, "I welcome you to the movies. Now watch me make out with my son."
we can enter when we go to the movies. We enter new worlds where anything is possible.
Where anyone can be your step relative. Anyone.
Where I can make out with my son, played by an actor who's played my abusive husband on another show.
No, like, which is weird for me to think about, because also Skarsgård, he, you know, rose up in fame. I mean, mostly I think because of his dad, so nepotism was probably the real reason he got famous. But, you know, he was also from True Blood, where he played the character Eric Northman, who was a 10th century Viking. So, you know, origin story, potentially, is all I'm saying, of what could have been going on here. We don't know.
Yeah, this is just like an epigenetic fever dream in the mind of like a True Blood character.
This is what he thinks. God. So, of course, Skarsgård, he leaves. He's super mad, and he again, instead of wanting to talk things out, he goes and he just murders the older half brother in his sleep and steals his heart. Just, you know, kills Ezra Miller the entire time. And so in that sense, critical support, I think, for Amleth in his rampage.
Yeah, I mean, she swung at him first. It was self-defense.
So Fjolnir is, of course, very upset. He's like, he's saying like, "Who killed my son?" He gathers up all of his slaves into a row. And he's like, "I'll start slitting throats until I find out who killed my son." And in my head, I'm like, dude. Who is not here right now? Let's take a look at your Jason Voorhees slave isn't here right now? Maybe it's that guy, huh?
Also, these are your investments, and you're just like killing them like for no reason. Like,
I'm telling you, that's why you bring along the kids, because you can just replace them at that point. It's what I'm saying. The economics of chattel slavery by Kelton.
He's buying high and selling low. You hate to see it.
This is why you lost your kingdom. All your apes were gone. He's Fjolnir's the victim of an ape hack. He's a born ape. King Harold of Norway came and got into his Bitcoin wallet.
Amleth stole his seed phrase. Oh my god.
So then, of course, Amleth reveals himself and is like, it's me, don't kill her. And so she gets away. And then he's like, well, how do you know it's your son's heart and not the heart of a wolf I killed, or of a dog I killed 2 days ago? And then like they just start beating the shit out of him. And I'm like, yeah, that fair. Shit's gonna happen, I guess. So then he gets tied up, and then he's like getting tortured, and he's like, it's not my time to die yet, which is like, again, you're really believing in fate at this point, my dude. Like you might need to start connecting a little bit with the real world, figure out what's going on there. But whatever, not going to judge you for this, because a flock of ravens unties him, which I guess is what happens. Or do you think like that was also meant to be interpreted as like his fever dream interpretation of what's going on, and in reality, like the rope slipped and then that's how he got out?
Yeah, they're never too explicit, like how much of the supernatural stuff is just in this insane man's head, or is like actually like divine intervention from Odin or something. But,
yeah.
Honestly, like I wasn't thinking too hard about it. I was just rolling with it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, at that point, we're gearing up for the third act sequence. Yeah, I get it. I shouldn't be overly critical of the magical ravens that take place. But you know what I will be critical of, Grift? When then he reunites with Olga and they escape and they plan on going onto a ship and they're going to go visit Amleth's relatives in some like nearby land. Why the fuck did he not just go there at the beginning instead of becoming a berserker person? What is happening here? Like, go to them first. You had family. You chose the path of vengeance. Like, is that what you're getting at? I don't know. It felt very much like a. Oh yeah, of course I have some relatives over in Deus Ex Machina land. Yes, why don't we go over there? Everyone will be safe there. We're calling it New Israel.
They really glossed over a lot of like how he ended up in the roving Viking band.
I also, why didn't Nicole Kidman just poison her husband? Now that I think about it, because then Fjolnir would have still become the king, at least temporarily, like a regent. And then,
well, see, you have the woman make the plot, but then you can't have her take the masculine ritual of the brother killing his brother for the throne.
True. Yeah. I forgot. Nicole Kidman's magic of cinema would not allow us.
Yeah, that's too much of a different world to imagine. That's going a little too far.
Yeah. That's taking away prime making out with my son's screen time if we start doing that.
I'd love like an edit where it's just like her in that intro, and then like we can enter a world where anything is possible, and it's just her making out with her son.
Honestly, when the Northman hits and is available on streaming, please remind me, because I can make that so easily.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Returning from a hiatus on Twitter just to post that. Radio silence once again. Truly bizarre. So Olga and is then like left alone on the boat, but it's okay because she's pregnant. And so, she's pregnant with twins, and one of them will become the Maiden King that was prophesied. And again, these are all very real, legit things that are happening, and not at all the delusions of a madman that has been stabbed like 14 times or whatever, and just experienced like a brutal torture sequence. No, not at all. Olga is the special girl. She will give birth to the Maiden King, and like a pregnant woman in the Viking times all by herself on a boat full of men, she'll be fine, right?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Again, it just, you stupid man. But it's almost like he's so blinded by revenge that he can't get out of his own way. As long as everyone is realizing that he's making a mistake, instead of like, oh, he's trying to break the cycle of violence, he's actually doing the noble thing. That's another thing I've seen circling around.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, it's like, no, you are not. No, that's not how this is going. And, maybe I'm in the wrong for the interpretation. But if I'm in the wrong, the movie sucks. I'm sorry. So I choose to be right rather than believing that Eggers would have something go in that route. So yeah, he returns back because he realizes as long as Fjolnir lives, his family isn't safe. He can't trust his sheep herding uncle to be left alone. No, he's going to somehow accumulate vast resources and attack himself, or maybe his uncle's younger child will go and attack him. Weird, crazy how that would work. Consequences of your actions, all that fun jazz. So Skarsgård shows up and he frees all of the slaves and kills most of his uncle's men, all three of them that are left, which just, again, real kind of, we're in the third act now. Like, it's no longer a one-on-one, mano-a-mano intense fighting. It's like, okay, they're just the drones that are left to get to the big boss fight that's about to happen.
Yeah, going full Revenge of the Sith at the end.
Well, it definitely does get there. We will get there, don't worry. But we forget that he first has like a trying to have a moment of closure with his mother, who then is just slashing at him. So he kills her, and then his little brother is stabbing him in the back repeatedly. And he kind of like shakes him off with his sword hand, and so he accidentally like bisects his younger brother.
I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. That was just like, someone's on my back stabbing me, I'm gonna fucking like lash out at them, get them off, and
instincts took over. Yeah, exactly.
At this point, he's killing everybody. He doesn't give a shit.
It's a green beret when fireworks are going off. They're not responsible for his actions.
Oh my god.
So I love that when Fjolnir walks in, is like, oh no, my wife, my child. Well, time to compose myself. Now is not a time for anger. He picks up their bodies and says, like, we are going to solve this via holmgang, which was a Viking legal way to resolve disputes. So it's basically like he looks at the bodies of his wife and child as like, I will see you in court, sir. Yeah.
We need to, in this, age of, effeminate men, we need to return to dueling culture. I think is the way to really bring back the code of honor that was lost in the times when people were better.
I'm just picturing the Tucker Carlson documentary about like when men were men, and it's just them naked fighting on a volcano.
Yeah, that you could have slotted this end scene right into that montage. Put like YMCA over it or something.
It was also great to look because the actor who plays the uncle is also 9 years older than Skarsgård, and so it's like, yes, uncle. Oh, look at this age difference. I'm like, it's not really that much of an age difference. He just has like gray in his beard at this point. Like, I'm willing to bet that if they both shaved, that they would look reasonably close to each other. But, you know, fine. It's okay. I'm not going to nitpick because we got a metal ass fucking volcano duel. And hell yeah. That was great to see about how they were, you know, just so wrought with emotion that it was like the climax of the entire movie taking place. And so when everything happens the way it does, where he beheads his uncle, but his uncle runs him through, it just, I don't know, it felt like it had a resonance to it that wasn't bittersweet, which I think that's a sign of excellent filmmaking, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, this was a really fucking good sword fight. Like, obviously, like you said it on what's the Revenge of the Sith planet? I'm drawing a blank.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, Green Screen Utopia. Yes.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, really good fight choreography. It honestly, like, I'm trying to think of another you know, one-on-one sword duel that like made as big an impression as this one. Like, probably have to go back to like Achilles and Hector in the Troy movie.
Oh my god, yeah, that shit rocked. Like, sorry, yeah. I'm just thinking, like, you're right. Yeah, I think that's probably, like, in terms of actual duels where they're facing off, because the choreography in it was amazing. Like, and the way that their fighting styles changed as they got injured, instead of like, oh, they're just trying to man their way through it. It's like, oh shit, like his arm got like hacked almost in half at the muscle. And, like, yeah,
and then he somehow continues to use it. Like, after that, he's like, no, like you literally, like, no matter how gritty you are, like if your like tendons are severed, you're not gonna be able to fucking swing a sword with that arm.
That's I think like a whole like speaking point about like the various fighting styles was like, if someone's strong, they still need tendons, so that's what you attack instead of trying to out brute them. But yeah.
Mustafar. That was the Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, planet. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Lion King dad's name. Absolutely. Mustafar.
Yeah, speaking of Lion King,
weirdly
Simba
though,
versus Scar, yeah.
Fjolnir is having to create a family to hide his closeted lifestyle away from everyone. If only Scar had picked up on that instead.
If they queer coded Fjolnir,
it's like, yes, this is my wife and our children. The children are obviously not his. Just like, fiery red hair the entire, like, oh, what? Weird. Okay, cool, I guess. Yeah. So that he dies, and then like you see him getting summoned to Valhalla as he has visions of Olga embracing their twin children again. It's supposed to be like a vision of the future, and I love how, in my interpretation, it's like, yeah, this is what like guys might see as they die, thinking that they did the right thing. It doesn't mean it's reality by any means. It's just like, yes, vindication, I did the right thing. And then like a year later, Olga is sold into slavery. His children get burned down in another village, and the cycle continues on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't good investments. No. What are you going to do?
How cool would it have been, by the way, if like when the raid sequence is happening at the beginning of the movie, where like they kill everyone and you see like one kid escape, he gets into a boat and starts paddling away. He becomes a berserker, and it's just that loop over and over again.
I did like how, like, when they were going down the river before they attacked the settlement in Russia, where they just encountered just a random boat with two guys in it. They just like shoot them with arrows, doing basically like a drive-by for no reason. Like, playing
that loud Viking drum music, from their boats.
The vulgar music of these thugs.
Yeah, these tatted up thugs that wearing their bling as they row around.
They're dipping their bling in blood.
Goodness. Now we get to the final end where, you know, it always feels trite but garbage or not, what did you think, Grift?
Definitely not garbage. I did not have transcendental expectations of this, so I was very satisfied. You know, visually striking, like really good action. Fucking everyone was giving committed performances. It's like, you know, all those 90 million, they were all on screen, and I fucked with it heavy.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I still give this movie like a solid 6 out of 10. Like, it's definitely not bad in my opinion. I was just disappointed as I was thinking about like what it could have been, since it was more small scale and less epic. I thought the thematic approach of cyclical violence could have been done slightly differently. Like, in one thing I was thinking about, and I've been chewing over, is thinking about like, well, what if Gunnar was kind of our main character, and then the realization that, oh, your father's not that great a man because he like killed his brother and then took his brother's wife, and like that's the dad that you've been idolizing, and so then your village being terrified and terrorized rather by this Jason X type murder machine is actually your half brother, and then, you know, he still gets killed, and then you follow the Jason X guy as the protagonist going into the third act. I felt, again, like it could be thematically richer, but it's just looking at things from a different perspective. It doesn't inherently mean that it would have made for a better movie. I'm certainly not going to say that, oh, Robert Eggers, you should have done what I was thinking the entire time. But it just felt like, with a smaller scale movie, you had the opportunity to explore things in a more multifaceted way. So the fact that it didn't, and instead chose, you know, metal as hell moments instead, is still fine. Like it made for a perfectly solid, perfectly enjoyable movie.
I was so along for the ride with this that I really wasn't thinking about how it could be better. But yeah, that sort of having a little bit of distance between you and I'm blanking on Skarsgård's character's name now.
Amlet.
Amlet. Yeah. Having a little bit of distance between him could have enhanced the menace and mystery of him basically turning into like a serial killer terrorizing this remote outpost.
But no, instead I guess we get to see like almost naked Anya Taylor-Joy instead. So that's the trade-off that we get here. R.I.P. Cinema, the experiences, Nicole Kidman. We definitely wouldn't have gotten that scene in our movie, I'll tell you that much.
Fjolnir, this pot is making you aggressive.
Christ alive. Well, now we get to plugs. Grift, what is happening in the shop?
Ooh, so I am running bootleg Milady merch for the Only Good NFT project, which I may or may not be invested in. No, but yeah, so we got in the Cedar Capital collection. We've been doing some fun stuff on there. It's, you know, we're in a holy war against the bored apes. So if you don't like them, then you're a friend of ours. So
that's where the battle lines are drawn, you know, and can't complain about any of that, because again, watching them get their shit regularly wrecked on the internet has been a delight. So I recommend following anyone in the Milady universe, if you are still going to use Twitter after the Musk takeover.
I mean,
listen, you're in this deep, okay? You know, it's different for the two of us here. You have a vested interest in this. I take it or leave it, you know. So
yeah, unfortunately, Trump said he's going to stay on Truth Social and not come back to Twitter. We'll see how long that lasts once the 2024 campaign begins.
I would love it if he holds out, because I love the press release style tweets are almost better than seeing the actual tweets. It's pretty glorious. As for me, I mean, I don't really have anything going on outside of Gigo. I don't even really have much going on on Twitter. I'm kind of phasing that out a little bit, for better or worse. And so just follow the show, follow Grift. All of those updates will be going on. Our Patreon is continuing. We're plugging away. We're going to be diving into season 3 of Yellowstone as we continue our plot towards getting Montana cowboy pilled, and that is a saving grace, because in 2 weeks we're going to be talking about Multiverse of Madness, and that is going to break me. I can already tell, Grift. It's going to be Multiverse of Madness, then 2 weeks of GigaCast, and then Obi-Wan. And then,
dark emo, depressed Obi-Wan. Let's go. Let's go.
Then another break, and then Jurassic World Dominion. So we're going to be in like the trenches of blockbuster culture. So I am going to look back at the Northman and think like, maybe it was a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. You don't know what you have until it's gone. But anyways, all right, everyone. Bye.
Peace.